If you're looking to build healthy food swaps that feel simple, in today's video we are breaking down 12 healthy food swaps for beginners that will easily help you stay consistent without giving up the flavors or the foods that you love. So I am someone who really enjoyed bread before I started eating healthy. Anytime I had pasta, I would have to have some type of garlic bread with it. And one thing that I felt like I had to give up in order to eat healthier was I had to give up bread. Instead of feeling like you need to give up bread, one thing to do is look at the bread you're getting and then swap it for a healthier bread like Ezekiel bread or Dave Killer's bread. So I really like those two brands. I don't really get the Dave Killer's one anymore, but I do like the ingredients in them. But one bread that I get now instead of getting any type of refined bread is I like getting Ezekiel bread just because it has much healthier ingredients in it, and it also has some type of protein in it. So as we're speaking about carbs, another one is having a healthier ramen. So I like getting the rice ramen now, and any type of flavor that I want to have to it, I just end up making the sauce instead of using a seasoning packet. It doesn't actually even come with a seasoning packet, but when you are having ramen, if you already have ramen packets at home, one thing to do is instead of using the seasoning packet where it has a lot of sodium and most of the ingredients come from, to then just create your own type of sauce of mixing in with the ramen, or look for a healthier ramen like rice ramen where the ingredients are much simpler than the other types of ramens. Another one that I really like is getting Ocean's Halo. So I like getting Ocean's Halo as well because the ingredients are really simple, and when it comes to the seasoning, one thing that you could do is just make your own seasoning to add to the ramen. Speaking of ramen, if you're someone who really likes making it more as a soup, one thing that I've recently changed is switching from a vegetable broth to bone broth. I really like this concept of using bone broth instead of vegetable broth just because, number one, I feel like there's more flavor in bone broth, and on top of that, you're able to increase your protein intake. So if you're someone who's also working on increasing your protein, when it comes to vegetable stock and broth, they don't really have any protein in it. But if you're using the bone broth, they tend to have more protein. Protein makes us more satiated, and then it also contributes to muscle building and muscle repair and all that stuff with muscles. So it just has much more of a benefit in our overall body comparative to vegetable broth and stock. But if you're someone who really enjoys the vegetable broth and stock, one thing that I do suggest is probably looking for one that's low sodium, because then you reduce the amount of salt intake as well. So healthy food swaps wouldn't be healthy food swaps if I didn't mention any type of snacks. So one snack that's really good at having a swap for is if you're someone who really enjoys potato chips, is to switch to Siete potato chips. I really love Siete potato chips just because I know the ingredients that's in those types of potato chips, rather than other types of brands where you're not really sure what's in it or know what the things that are in it, what they actually are. I really like Siete as an alternative to the regular type of potato chips just because they're ingredients that I know, they're flavors that I know, and then instead of it being cooked in things like palm oil or vegetable oil, it's cooked in avocado oil. So it's then also cooked in a healthier oil. So when it comes to snacks, if you're someone who may not be a chips person, but more of a sweets person and enjoys cookies or muffins, one simple swap that you can make is switching from refined flour to almond flour. I am not really a sweets person, but when I stopped drinking alcohol, I became a sweets person, and I just wanted all the chocolate and all the cookies around. I don't know if it's because of the dopamine or the sugar, but whatever it was, it turned me into a sweets person. And one thing that I started doing was making cookies, and I'm much more cautious of making sure I'm using the healthiest ingredients that I can. And one thing that I found was having almond flour in placement of using refined flour. So I like doing this because it gives me some type of nutrients from the almonds, and it offers its own set of little nutrients as opposed to no nutrients from the refined flour. And then I'm just able to choose a healthier type of flour when it comes to making my banana muffins or making making my peanut butter cookies or making just regular almond flour cookies, you're able to just have a healthier way of eating the same thing. You're just changing out one of the ingredients in the recipe rather than just completely feeling like you can never eat cookies or muffins again. So if you're someone who really enjoys sweets, one swap that is a really good swap to make is switching from using refined flour to then almond flour. And it's also much better than whole wheat flour. So I think it's like a win-win all around. So when it comes to things like peanut butter cookies, one swap that I think is really important is learning what peanut butter you're actually getting. Even though peanut butter, I feel like it's considered a healthy food, there are certain peanut butters out there that are literally the most unhealthiest peanut butters. The brand I like to get is Justin's, and I also have tried a new brand because it's a little bit cheaper and it only contains peanuts as its only ingredient. But if you're someone who really likes adding peanut butter to either your types of snacks that you get, one thing to do is look at which peanut butter you're getting. When you end up getting like any peanut butter thinking that any peanut butter is healthy, you're probably doing more harm than good, because a lot of the peanut butters that exist really have a lot of sugar in it. They have a lot of extra ingredients in it. And one thing that I like to think about is if there's an item that I'm picking up and I know that it only needs this amount of ingredients and you're giving me a plethora of ingredients now added to it, to me, it's no longer that item. It's just something that looks like that item. When it comes to something like sweets, if you're someone who tends to have pancakes or waffles, one swap that may be a little bit more on the costly side up front, but I feel like it offsets it with a better health, is switching from pancake syrup to maple syrup. Aunt Jemima and like pancake syrups like that have an ingredient called high fructose corn syrup in it. And high fructose corn syrup is one of those ingredients that I avoid like the plague, because it is something to where if you have it, you could be addicted to that type of food, not because it's good, but because of the high fructose corn syrup in it. And one thing that I noticed is like a lot of the foods that like I tend to just overeat and then overconsume and not seem to stop is it would have high fructose corn syrup in it. And then on top of that, that leads to weight gain, and it just like leads to like a whole bunch of other health issues that I don't want. So one thing that you could do in replacement of getting pancake syrup is to then switch to maple syrup. For me, it took me a minute before I was okay with picking that up off the shelf. But one thing I just tend to think about is like, I either pay now or I pay later. And so I rather just pay for that cost now rather than paying for it with my health later. But if it's something to where it's just not within your budget of wanting to pay for, it's just being more cautious of looking if there's like another syrup that you could have where it doesn't have high fructose corn syrup in it. So then eventually switching to maple syrup. So if you're someone who really enjoys chocolate, one simple swap that's easy to make is switching from things like Kit Kat or Hershey's or M&M's to the brand Unreal. I really enjoy the Unreal brand because I just like that the ingredients are much healthier than the standard ingredients that's within like Kit Kat or Hershey's. And like they have different types of variety of similar of what you would get for like the regular chocolate. But I like it because it's just much healthier types of ingredients. When it comes to like these other chocolates, such as like M&M's or Kit Kats, like they tend to have artificial dye in it, which is not great for our health. And when it comes to Kit Kat, like their first ingredient is sugar, and then it has vegetable oil, palm oil, kernel oil. But what I like about Unreal Snacks is like when they have like dark chocolate, they have milk chocolate, the ingredients in it starts with dark chocolate instead of sugar as the first ingredient. So if you're someone who really enjoys chocolate, one brand to switch to is going from having like the standard of like Hershey's and Kit Kat to then switching to the Unreal brand, because honestly, you don't even really taste the difference. Like it's healthier and you don't really notice a difference, and you're getting healthier ingredients in it as well. So if you're someone who enjoys sweets and enjoys having like smoothies, one swap that is really good is instead use dates as a sweetener in your smoothie. So I really love dates. I never heard about it until I had transitioned to a vegan lifestyle back in 2019. And although I'm no longer vegan, it is something that I still tend to use often, especially when it comes to making my own snacks. So recently, because I don't always want to have to buy a snack, I like making my snacks at home. And it was like this viral video that showed up on Instagram Instagram and YouTube and I think TikTok of people making like homemade Snickers using dates. And honestly, like once I found that and then did it once, I now have an addiction to making them pretty often. And you could do it like two ways. You can make it as like a bar, or you could make it as like a little Snickers bite. Like I prefer the bar one. It just takes a lot more work of like mashing down the dates, but I just feel like it's much more better of enjoyment of me having it rather than just opening up the date and then putting in the peanut butter. But if you're someone who really enjoys sweets, instead of feeling like you have to remove sweets completely and wanting to lower down your sugar intake, one thing to do is instead of having like maple syrup added to your smoothie is to then add dates to your smoothie in replacement of the maple syrup. And they have their own nutritional benefit of also being high in fiber. So not only are you able to have like this really sweet, healthy treat, you're also able to now get in some extra fiber from the date itself. So before we continue, if you found at least one thing valuable in this video, definitely share it in the comments and make sure to hit the like button so others like us can also gain value from this video. If you're someone who really enjoys having popcorn, one thing to do, instead of getting like those pre-packaged like bagged popcorn, get the popcorn kernel itself and then make the popcorn yourself. Because when you're getting like those bagged popcorns, they tend to have a lot of ingredients in it, and I'm not really sure why they have all those ingredients in it. And I remember opening up one of them one time and then just seeing the amount of butter that was in there before it ends up like popping. And so one swap that is really good to make is, if you're someone who really enjoys popcorn, is instead of getting like the bagged popcorn, to then just get the popcorn kernels itself and then make it your own. This is a really good swap to have because number one, you're able to control how much you're having. And then on top of that, you're also able to be more cautious about the amount of butter that you're using in your popcorn. One thing that I noticed when I had first made my own popcorn was I didn't realize like how much butter I was eating when I got the prepackaged one, because when I started making it myself and then starting to microwave the butter, I would microwave what I thought was a lot of butter. And then when I poured the butter on the popcorn, I'm like, I need more butter. And I'm like, I just don't want to put more butter knowing how much butter I already cut off. So then it just has a sense of like awareness of like how much butter you were probably eating with that old popcorn. And then as someone who opened up the bag before you put the bag inside the microwave to pop it, I was like, that was a lot of butter. But one thing, when you're using like your own butter, you're also able to use like healthier butter. So I like using my grass-fed Irish Gold butter. And when it comes to the types of seasonings that I put on it, I'll just use like regular salt and nutritional yeast. So now I'm also getting B12 from the nutritional yeast rather than some artificial cheese and some artificial butter. If you're someone who really enjoys popcorn, instead of getting like the pre-packaged bag, switch to the popcorn kernels, because then you're much more intentional about what you're putting in your popcorn, what is going in your popcorn, and how to make your popcorn in a healthier way. So I'm not really someone who really enjoys this item, but I have found that it has been much more enjoyable now that I make it in the way that I make it. And it is switching out ice cream for nice cream. When I was vegan, I feel like I had like a little phase when I was like wanting ice cream. And even though I'm not like an ice cream person, it was kind of baffling to me on why I wanted ice cream. And as I was in my vegan journey at the time, I was craving ice cream, but I didn't really care to pay for the price of vegan ice cream. Like I just couldn't justify those prices that I was seeing. And so I just never bought it. I think I probably bought one and I don't think I liked the flavor of it. So one thing that I started doing was looking up like homemade ice creams. And then I ran across like Nice Cream. And if you're not familiar with Nice Cream is basically using fruit as ice cream. And this has been such like a game changer of a benefit, because I'll just look for the fruit of the flavor profile that I want, and then I'll just make that. If I want a cookie dough ice cream, then all I need is bananas, some milk, and some chocolate chips, and I have my Nice Cream. When it comes to having ice cream, like ice cream tends to have a lot of sugar in it. Even the vegan ones had so much sugar in it. And I just couldn't justify, like, if I'm trying to eat healthier, I'm not trying to now eat a load of sugar and knowing that if I eat a lot of sugar, it will break out my face. So one thing that I just started doing was swapping out with swapping out ice cream for nice cream. And anytime when I have like a craving of having ice cream, I would just have that instead of having regular ice cream. And the last one is something that is new to me of doing a swap with, and it is swapping out certain types of snacks for a high protein snack. And the high protein snack that I get now is a brand called Epic Bars, and mainly the Wagyu type of flavor. I like getting Epic Bars because as I'm trying to like increase more of my protein intake because it helps you stay full longer, I'm now not only just like having a little snack to snack on, I'm also having a healthier snack to snack on. So if you're someone who really enjoys jerky, one thing to do is switch to a high protein snack, because not only are you then getting full from the nutrients within that little snack, you're also increasing a type of macronutrient that our body needs. And I'm not even someone who likes jerky. Like growing up, jerky was just never something on my list of wanting to have. And now that I've tried that type of brand, I really love the ingredients in it. I love the flavor of it. And it's just easy of something to snack on without having to go to anything majorly processed. So those are my 12 healthy swaps for beginners. Definitely let me know what you think in the comments and which one you plan on implementing. If you enjoyed this video and got this far in the video, definitely hit the like button and the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.